Hello. Hi everyone. How is everyone doing this evening? I hope everyone is well. We are live and we are good to go. Welcome to the event of how to start a care agency. And this really does become one of my very first things that I did many years ago, about 10 years ago. Uh, Coming in May, 10 years, where I did my first event, and it was called How to Start Your Own Care Agency. And I think it's wonderful that I'm actually doing this. Again, it's like I'm doing full circle, but I wanted to do this for those of you that are just starting, or maybe you're not just started, you've already started, but you're perhaps a bit stuck, you haven't got that um, overview and guidance of how you can get moving forward. Perhaps you're feeling a bit stuck, or you're not sure which way to go. Let me just make sure my team. I just had a text message, so I just want to make sure that everybody can hear me okay. Excellent. Wonderful. So you can hear me great. So like I said, this is really close to my heart because this was one of the first events that I did in the UK at Wembley, for example. And it was about how to start your own care agency. And I think it's so amazing that I'm doing this again. And I'm thankful to God that I'm here, that I'm able to talk and say this message, but in an updated version because things have changed in in a good way, because it's made me realize how valuable our life is and how valuable our time is, and also that we are entitled to the best as care providers. And I don't want care providers to get run down. I don't want you to become burnt out. I don't want you doing too much work as a business owner, because it is difficult when you're running a business. A care business is very difficult because you've got the responsibility to you and your family, for example. There's the responsibility to your staff members, and there's the responsibility to the community of who you serve. And I think that's really, really critical that we serve in the best way possible, that we are giving the best that we can give within our healthcare organization. So, welcome to today's event, and it's going to be over 3 days. So, it's today, Thursday, and Friday, and the replay is available. So, today I'll be going through the step by step guide that you really need to be aware of. And I just want to say welcome. I'm Christine Blackledge Crowell, and I am a 7 healthcare business mentor. Some people call me a 30-year care veteran because I've been specialized in the field of care. So I just wanted to also point that out to you. So welcome to the day one event. Day one, it's about understanding the care industry, because some of you may not understand the care industry and what really is involved. People think, oh, I just want to set up my own care agency and everything's going to be hunky-dory. But you need to know some of the things that we face as care providers, that, there's things that we need to be aware of, that we are needing to, really sometimes when we first start out, to be involved. We can't just sit back and think it's going to just fall into our laps, because it's not going to do it that way. It's not like it used to be many years ago. So we have to roll up our sleeves, and we have to think about things that we need to do in preparation to start your agency. And this is what this event is about as well, for starting your agency, so that you're getting a good overview of what your responsibility is, because you've got to be thinking about your staff, who you're going to be responsible for. You've got to think about For example, the software that you're going to need. You're going to think about what service type are you going to deliver. You got to find out what the needs are in the community of where you're going to be serving and providing the service that you want to do as well. And look at when you've got staff members. Yes, staff members are going to go, or they may come back, or they may go again. You know, that's part of life. Life happens. So you will get a turnover of staff. That's not a bad thing. That means that your business is just growing, and sometimes it's not for the right people. But you want to leave space for the right ones to come in. So why have someone in your organization that you know isn't doing a good job at caring for someone? So you need to make sure that you hire the best possible candidates that you can, so that you don't have to go through all of that, starting all over again, training them up, and then they leave, for example. So, but always think about recruiting on a regular basis, because staff members, like I said, they will go off sick. They will have emergencies that need to be dealt with, for example. So you need to ensure that you've got a spare staff member that can go in and cover straight away, so it's not impacting on you. And if the need be, then you will need to go out to cover the care. So be prepared to be hands-on in your healthcare business, for example. Just drank my tea. So, as I said, my name's Christine, and I've been a care veteran for 30 years. I've got over 30 years experience in the care industry. So I'll guide you through the essential of starting your own care agency. I want all of you to grab a pen, grab a notepad, and start writing things down, because when you write things down, you listen more, you hear more as well. Although we got the video and you're watching me on this video here, but it's also good to have a notepad, pen, get a calculator ready next to you so that you can do some calculations, for example, or use your mobile phone, and you're good to go. So what I want to say is that you need to think about how you're going to be learning, and you'll be gaining insights in various sectors, because the care sector includes various different types of persons, for example, or ages. So it could be elderly care, children's services, for example, special needs care, adults. So identify what opportunities and challenges. Then what you need to do is explore those opportunities available in the care industry, and you will understand the challenges that you may encounter. And you will experience challenges in healthcare. I'm not going to sugarcoat this. This is part of life, journey of running a healthcare business. There will be challenges along the way, but each time you overcome that challenge, you'll be strong enough for the next challenge, and so on and so forth as you grow. Okay, so like I said, you'll be understanding the challenges that you may encounter in your entrepreneurial journey as well. And you need to also think about the essentials of starting a care agency, care business. You've really got to get a notepad and paper and write things down. Don't just go into things blindly, because then you're going to think, oh, I didn't realize I needed this. Oh, I didn't realize I needed that. This is basically doing your research before you go into something. Of course, any business, you have to pay for things. It's not a free thing. For example, even if you get a consultant, you still have to pay for the items that your business is responsible for. So let's dive in to the care industry. So I'll start with, let's look at laying the ground, laying the foundations. We'll dive deep into the care sector, exploring different avenues like elderly care, whether you want to do adult services, for example, special needs care, complex care, specialist care, for example, mild, medium to high. We'll look at these opportunities over the 3 days, but you need to think about what resonates with you. What is your heart-centered feeling when you think about what type of healthcare business that you want to run? We'll also talk about the hurdles that you may face along the way, because like I said, I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. And although this is a 3-day training, it is going to be informative. We've also got our training next week, so I hope that you have registered for the event next week, which is about, I believe it's about getting contracts, for example. Not I believe, it's about getting contracts, for example, because I think that's important. This is the first part, then there's the second part, which is important as well. So with elderly care, and I'll just go into the explanations of each section. So with elderly care, it involves providing care and support services to elderly individuals, service users who may need assistance with their daily activities like washing, bathing, dressing, meal preparation, medication assistance, management in terms of that, and companionship, respite care, living care, palliative care, hospice care. The list is endless. So there is a growing demand for elder care for the elderly due to the aging population. We're living longer, and this is a good area for you to look at to start exploring whether you want to do elderly care, or whether you want to do adult care, or whether you want to do children's services, whereby you are providing a service that is aimed for children, and it typically ranges from infants to school-age kids, for example. And this can include, for example, looking after children with complex needs, for example, or maybe they've got mental health, for example, or physical disability that they need assistance with. So you really need to think about what resonates with you and is going to make you feel fulfilled. What really lights you up is the key here. Is everyone okay? Give me some hearts, give me some love. Let me know that you're hearing me well and fine. So I'm just going to go into special needs. Special needs care involves providing support and assistance to individuals with physical, developmental, behavioral, or emotional challenges. And this could involve individuals with disability, like, for example, they could have autism, spectrum disorder, or chronic illnesses. While this sector may require specialized training and expertise, it also presents opportunities for fulfilling work and making a meaningful impact on the lives of those in need. So let's look at the opportunities and challenges that you may encounter in each of these sectors. Thank you. So there is a growing demand with changing demographics and lifestyles. So there's an increase in the need for professional care services across all age groups. Flexibility is important. So the care industry offers flexible work arrangements, allowing entrepreneurs like yourselves to actually run a healthcare business. You can run a healthcare business part-time. You don't just, quit your job that's bringing money in. Use that to help pay for your business. Don't ever quit your job to start a care business. You've got to make sure that you've got the money coming in and that you're using that money, part of that money from your wages, to pay for things like software, your telephone, your insurance, for example, and think of working 1 day a week, for example, doing 1 day extra to help fund your healthcare business. So I hope that's making sense to you. You don't want to quit your job. You've got to make sure that you're safe. So with this, it can give you personal fulfillment. Providing care and support to others can be incredibly rewarding, both personally and professionally. Like I said to you, when I started, I was actually doing care for free. I was also delivering some food sometimes when it was Christmas time, when the service users didn't have someone cooking them a hot meal. You know, I didn't feel right going home when I could see there was some service users that were having a frozen meal. So I cooked enough for them and I dropped it off before I actually had my Christmas dinner. And that's because I love to serve and I love to care for people. So is this something that you're willing to do for free? Because that tells you that this is the right thing for you. Because there's going to be some hard days. There's going to be some challenges. There's going to be some tough times. And if you haven't got that drive for the love and the passion of what you do, you will end up quitting. Okay, so you don't want to do that. So is it something that you would love to help the community with? So some of the challenges that we face is that we are regulated. There's compliance. The care industry is heavily regulated, understandably. This sometimes requires businesses to adhere to strict licensing certifications like CQC, government license, and services license and safety standards. Staff challenges can be recruiting and retaining qualified carers, for example, and nurses can be a challenge, particularly in the areas with high demand and competition. So try and go for the ones that are of high needs, yeah, and that is a specialized skill, and that the location of where you're providing that service, that you've spoken with the community as well as the councils, as well as the social workers, as well as the multidisciplinary teams, as well as the integrated care boards. You need to speak with all of your community. You can't just do this from the seat of your chair in an office. You got to get out and see people and talk to them, see what the need is, and meet that need. I was providing services to rural areas, for example. I was providing services to specialist groups. I was providing services to African Caribbean service users, for example. So I wasn't like the average agency. I was different. I looked and seen what the need was and what was missing, and I met that need. There's also the financial considerations that you have to think about. Starting and running a care agency requires significant initial investment in terms of infrastructure, equipment, and staffing, which can be daunting for beginners. Now, when it comes to paying your staff members, when the time comes when you start to get a contract, you can look at getting things where the bank will give you a loan, or factoring or invoice finance, whereby the banks and the financial institutions or the high streets, for example, or any factoring company, for example, will lend you up to, it could be up to 95% of your invoice, so that you can pay your staff weekly. Because I know a lot of you think, how am I going to pay my staff members? I can't do it because I can't pay people weekly. Well, I'm giving you the information here in this training, and I want you to really make notes so that you've got this information. Although this video will be available, for example, on in the Facebook group here, for example, as well as YouTube. So just think about that. You can pay your staff, and you can pay them weekly once the work comes in. So think about the equipment that you're going to need. You'll need mobile phones. You're going to need a desk. I think we've all got these things, telephones. We've all got computers. We've got mobile phones, for example. So the things that you really have to stretch out to is like your insurance, for example, and your software, your hosting, your website. And you can even build websites for free now. So one of the most critical steps in starting your own care agency is looking at your business plan. Think of it as your roadmap that will guide you through every twist and turn of your entrepreneurial journey, because you need to define what your income is going to be. Okay, so for example, if you're doing home care, then you would look at doing your first year, because if you're getting registered with CQC, you don't want to give this massive figure, oh, I'm going to make $1 million in 1 year. Let's be realistic and let's start small, step by step. Okay, like I said, it's not a get rich quick scheme. It's not a quick fix. You got to give it time to grow and to develop into what you want it to be. So, you may not see results until 3-6 months, for example. Okay, so you have to bear with it and give it time to grow. Well, maybe you may see results sooner. Depends what work you put in and how much effort you put into it. If you go into this 150%, then there's no reason why you shouldn't do well. It all depends whether you want to register with the Care Quality Commission, because if you are looking at getting registered with the Care Quality Commission, then that can take up to 12 weeks to get your agency licensed and registered, for example. So it all depends what you want. If you're doing recruitment care agency, then you don't need to register with CQC. You can really start sooner, like right away, as long as you've got all your documents and your paperwork together, for example. So think about what is your business plan going to be. So the first year, for example, and I'm being very modest here, 290,000. 290,000 if you're doing home care in the community. That gives you about 11 staff members. Depends what rate you're going to pay them per hour. So if this is for a generic healthcare worker, then maybe you're going to pay them, what, 12, 13 pounds an hour, for example. Then you've got your charges on top, which your charges will be, for example, 50% if it's to do with the NHS and below, or if it's a private organization, then it will be slightly higher. It could be 60, 65%. So I want you to be aware of this, ready for when you're thinking about going into running a healthcare business, what the cost is going to be for you. So I hope you're making some notes here right now, because this is all part of this training, is that you're making notes as well. So like I said, your first year you're doing 290,000 a year. So if I do 290,000, I'm getting my calculator out. You get your calculator out as well. Divide that into 52. That gives you £5,576.92 per week, for example. Then you're going to divide this into what your charges plus your staff wages is going to be, so that you are doing the rates at the rate that you want to do. So you need to look at what the competitive rate is in your locality, find out what the pay rates are, and then think about what your charges will be. If you want to do it at 50% on top, that's up to you, or I would start off at 65%, for example. Okay, but I'm doing this, it's £5,576.92 per week. I'm going to divide this into 40 hours, just on average. That then tells me the number of hours a week is 139.42 hours a week, will give me 290,000 a year. I'm then going to look at, let's just go back here. I'm going to do that again. 290,000, because I did it at £40 an hour, but I'm going to go lower as well. So divide that by 52, gives me the weekly amount of 5,576.92. I'm going to divide that. If my rates with my staff members rate £12, plus I'm charging, say, another £7 on top, for example, that then gives me that I'm charging £19 an hour. I'm just rounding it off. You can say £19.99. It's up to you. So I'm dividing that into £19, right? So then at £19, in order for me to earn 290,000 a year, I need to do 293 hours, 0.5 a week. That's all. And then if you then divide that into 40 hours, because staff members usually do 40, well, from 20 to 40 hours, it's flexible, it's up to you and it's up to them what hours they're able to do. That then tells me that I will need 8 staff members, for example, to cover the hours a week that will give me 290,000 a year. I hope everyone's with me and I haven't lost you so far. Just give me a yes that you understand. And don't forget there is the video to watch again afterwards. So once you've figured out what your business plan is going to be, you've got to obviously put down what your equipment is, software, telephones, mobile phones, your computers, your desk, your chairs. All of these things have to be put into your business plan. What your insurance is, your accountancy, what that's going to cost you, for example, any compliance that you have to pay for as well, any training, staff training, your cost as an employer, your pension costs as an employer. All of these things need to go into your business plan. For example, unless you've got self-employed contractors, for example, then they will be the ones responsible for their own taxes. But that's a whole nother ball game. Speak with your accountant to make sure that everything is fine on that score, for example. So you want to look at also defining your vision and your mission. So what lights you up? What is your mission and your vision, for example? What is it that you want to do? You got to be clear on this vision. So let's look at this deeper. So your vision is like your North Star. It's guiding you towards your long-term goals and aspirations. So what do you envision your agency to be in the next 2 to 5, 10, 20 years, even if you really want to dream big? I always look at my vision beyond my vision. So I always try and do a 10-year plan. Like I've done a 10-year plan as being a coach. My 10 years is coming up May this year. And the only thing that I'm missing off of my 10-year vision is the 30 coaches. I've got 2 coaches, but I'm missing another 28. So if anyone is interested in being a coach, please come forward, because we are offering a training program to help you to become a coach. Like me, I can show you everything that I can do. I can also give you access to my tools and my templates, etc., to make it so simple and easy for you. Something that took me 10 years, you can have it a lot sooner. We've also got leads that we can pass on to you as well. So there's our boot camps that we do. So what is your, I'm going back into the care agency part, but I just thought I'd mention my 10-year vision is I've almost completed it. I've still got 28 coaches to get by this year. So I'm not going to say by May, because at the end of the day, it has to be the right fit for me and the company and for the clients as well. So define your vision. What is your inspiration? What is your North Star? Point to it and make it real. So the next thing that you need to think about is your mission. So your mission, it's something that is your heartbeat. Think of it as your heart beating. What makes your heart beat in your agency? It's about your why. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this in the first place? Why do you want to start a care agency in the first place? What is it that drives you? You may have seen that there's a lack or there's a gap. I can see there's a lot of gaps now. A lot. So what is it that you've noticed that's made you think, hey, you know what? I can do this. I want to do this. You know, you're a nurse. If you're a nurse, you're a healthcare worker, for example. Yes, we can definitely help you. I used to live in Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia, by the way, and we've done home care. We've helped home care agencies in Georgia, and I did love Savannah. I think it was a lovely place as well. We also did medical schools as well. So yes, we can definitely help you if you want to reach out. Our team, if you could send a link, and then I can definitely speak with you on that, because there is a way for you to get this rectified. Okay, so you got to think about the impact. What is it does your community need right now? You got to get out there and talk to your community. Talk to your centers, your community centers. Talk to the groups. Talk to the charities that are out there. Talk with the social workers. Talk with the hospital teams. Talk with the hospices. There's a huge list of organizations that you should be reaching out to, because you got to really get started on this, because they're not going to come to you. You've got to go to them, but you got to provide the right things that's going to make them come forward as well and say, yes, I want to use you. Okay, so what is it that drives you? What impacts you to make you want to do this, to help people's lives for the better and help caregivers as well? So let's look at your mission with your passion and your purpose. You put all of those three things together, then you will create your mission. Okay, that's the real important thing as well. What is it that you're seeing is lacking? And I will tell you right now, there's a lot of lacking in diversity. There's a lot of lacking in inclusion. For example, there's so much lacking. I saw so much of that when I was in the States. And in the UK as well. It's all around the world. It's not just in one place. We are lacking in that knowledge and that specialism, and also providing a service to individuals, service users. If we can try and think about what the need is in the community and speak with them, then you will get the true answer to what it is that you need to do in order to get clients as well. So, like I said, you need to identify your target market. You got to really zoom in on your target market. You know who your target market is, then you've then got to go to them and really scrutinize and talk to everybody. Don't care if you think you're being a pain, because you're not. You want the best for the community, and that's what you stand for. Like me, when I started my care home many years ago, many years ago, and I specialized in African Caribbean, and I was full on day one. I got registered the day before. The first day, my place was full because I did my research beforehand. I knew what the need was because I spoke with the organizations who could provide me clients. And when I say I spoke, I really was everywhere, finding out. I was like a little investigator. So zoom in on your target market, okay? Who are they? Who are the individuals or the families that will benefit from your care services? This is where you're looking at building your ideal client, for example. Are you focusing on elderly care who need assistance with daily living activities, or perhaps passionate about providing specialized care for children with disabilities? So this is the thing that you have to think about. What specialized care can you provide? What specialized care can you provide? Because at the end of the day, it's not you covering the care. Yes, to begin with, some of you may, like me, I did. But, really you need to look at getting the staff in that can provide specialized care so that you have got a upper hand. Yeah, you can do this worldwide. You've got clients who've got businesses in America, they've got them in Hawaii, they've got them in Texas, they've got them in New York, they've got them in the UK, they've got them in, where else was there? Canada, for example. So I'm not saying jump for all of that right now. I'm just saying one thing at a time because you're only just starting. But you can see this as your 10-year plan, as what I was just saying to you. So understand who your target market is. You want to market inside and out, and you want to be able to tailor your service to meet that specific need or preferences. So it will make you the go-to agency. They'll choose you. They'll want to use you for you to provide them with staff. So another thing is, what services are you going to offer? What services will you offer? So let's outline some of the services that your agency will offer. It can be from personal care, for example, to companionship services. Let's look at creating a list right now of what services that you want to provide. Complex care, mental health support, for example. Is it children's services? Is it adult services? Is it elderly care services? Personal care? Living care? What type of services will you provide? Will you have specialist services? Like, for example, you may, if you're specialist in training or a nurse, for example, you could do diabetic care, for example. You could specialize in dementia care. You could also offer training to the carers that look after service users. So it helps them to feel supported. So why not do that as an extra step to get you in the door? You can provide training. So create a list of things that's going to make you different. Find out what your competitors do. That's the first thing you should do, is go and check them out. Go and check them out, see where they are, knock on the door, and you can say that you are inquiring for a friend, for example, so they can give you the information, and you'll get to see how they are and what their prices are. investigate what their prices are. Especially when you're doing your business plan, you will need to do that so that you know what other people are charging in your location so that you can be competitive. If they are just providing generic, for example, then maybe you should look at what specialisms that you can provide that's going to make you different from them so that you will be a match. You know, they can refer people to you, you can refer people to them if you choose, especially if you get busy, and maybe you could subcontract, or they can subcontract with you so that you're getting that experience and at the same time you're learning, and you can use them as a reference to say that you've subcontracted with this organization, so you have delivered a service, for example. So after looking at your services that you provided, your financial projections, so now we need to look at the calculator. Get your calculator out if you've got one now. And you need to be able to forecast. So what is your first year? Remember I said as a generic thing, as a modest amount. For example, running a home care agency in your first year, 290,000, for example. And then you'll increase by 25% each year, for example. So then that 290,000 becomes times 25%. You can do even 30%, that's usual as well. I'm doing 25%. That then gives me, the second year will be 362,500. This is home care I'm referring to, not the recruitment. I'll talk about recruitment in a moment. Then if I was to look at my third year, I'm going to increase by 25% again. That would then give me, let me just do that again, sorry, 362. So that gives me an extra 90,000. So then that then puts me on almost 500,000, for example, in 3 years. And that's taking it easy. That's not stressful. So the first year you'll probably need about 7 staff, 8 staff, like I said. Second year you'll probably need another, say about 11 staff, 12 staff. Then the third year you'll need, say, 15 to 20 staff. And that's taking that very modest, very small amount. Now, if you're a recruitment agency, then you would then do the same thing. However, recruitment agencies, your shifts are not like hourly, hourly, it's usually 12-hour shift. So if you're gonna, usually with your agency, you really want to look at making about 350,000 to say 500,000, because you've got multiple things. You've got nurses, you've got healthcare workers as well. So you've got 2 things in one. So your first year, there's no reason why you shouldn't make, say, for example, 580,000 in your first year, and then your second year, 25% on top of that. And I'll just do that with you now. So your first year as a recruitment agency, for example, with nurses and healthcare workers, the usual amount the first year is 580. Then you're going to look at what your hourly rate is, which usually would be, for example, if I was to say 24. So then that then brings you to your amount of 24,166 a month, for example. Let me do that again. Apologies. 580,000 divide by 12 is 48,333, for example, and that's a month. If we look at doing that in a weekly way, so that you've got that as well, divide by 52, that then gives you 11,153.38 pence a week. Then you've got to look at your staff members. Their hourly rate will be, for example, if it was 24, that then makes it so that you need to really be doing about 500 hours a week, which is average, for example, in your first year. Okay, so you're building up to that. So that 500 hours a week, so if you do 500 hours a week by the end of the year, for example, then if you're going to divide that into 4, then you want to be doing at least 125 hours a month in order to get to that target of 500 hours a week to create that 580,000. So these are the things that you need to look at with forecasting with your healthcare business, recruitment business, that is now. So the 580,000, I'm increasing that by 25%. So the second year will be 725,000, then the third year is around about 906,000 when you're running nurses and healthcare workers, for example, simultaneously together with your medical staffing or recruitment care agency, for example. So it's important to do your forecast for the first 3 years so that you know what your goals are, what you're aiming to achieve, and always reach for the stars, I always say, because at least if you meet halfway, you're going to be satisfied. Okay? So you want to make sure that you create realistic projections as well. And to paint a real clear picture, your agency's financial future will factor into variables like your startup costs. What are your startup costs? Maybe you're getting a loan, for example. What are your monthly expenses that you've got to keep paying every single month? What is your revenue streams, for example, and your growth projections? So remember that it's better to err on the side of caution and to understand your revenue than to over promise and under deliver. So set objectives that are achievable goals and watch your agency thrive. You will see it thrive. For me, I was, my agency grew very fast, very quick, within a number of years, for example. So I wanted to point that out to you, and I hope that that was very helpful to you. I want to talk to you about what we're going to cover day 2. That was day 1. We've finished day 1, giving you some information to think about. Now day 2, we're going to be going into crafting your agency blueprint. So don't miss out. You need to come back to day 2 tomorrow, okay? Because I want you to really embrace this. We're going to do a recap of day 1, okay? And then we're going to start talking about day 2. And day 2, it will focus on your business planning essentials. Business planning essentials is so crucial to really drafting a comprehensive business plan. It includes your vision, your mission, and your services that you're offering along with your financial projections. So I'm going to give you some homework to do that I'd like you to work on is your projections that I just talked to you about just now, where I did year 1, 2, and 3. Okay, I know you're thinking homework. This is an event, so I'm going to give you some homework to do. Okay, I want you to really think about what your mission and vision is. Listen back to the video. Okay, I want you to listen back to the video, and I want you to write out your mission and your vision. Okay, I also want you to start thinking about your business plan, writing down the figures. Write it on a notepad so that you've got the information ready for tomorrow. Okay, I want to know what your vision is and what your mission is and what services that you're going to be offering along with your financial projections. And I would suggest that you sit and watch this video again so that you can go through and write it down. Get a notepad and paper and write things down. You can't go wrong. Or just write it on a Word document. I'm old school because I always say, pen and paper, because I always think that the pen is it's amazing. Okay, so that's just me. I also think paper is, because I can write things down. I remember things better that way as well. But use your Word document, that is fine. That's great. So I want you to work on that, and I'll just tell you about day 3. We're going to be going through making your agency a reality, because this is where this event is about. I want to help you to get your agency off the ground, but also want you to understand the fundamentals. Okay, I want you to be able to bring your agency to life. We will recap on day 3 of what we did on day 2, and we will start doing day 3, and we will be looking at licensing, regulations, and I'm talking about UK as well as America as well. Explore the legal requirements. We'll go into licenses, certifications, and necessary that is to establish and operate a care agency compliantly. We're going to go through that. We're going to talk about recruitment strategies, that you'll be able to learn effective tips, strategies for attracting, hiring, and also retaining skilled care workers and administrative staff. We'll be looking at marketing your agency, because that is an important part of running an agency business. We will go through discovering various marketing strategies tailored to the care industry, because there's lots of marketers out there that pretend that they know about marketing. But yes, they may know about marketing, but the care industry is different. The messaging is different. The stories are different. There's so many things that we are doing differently than what an average Joe Blogs agency would do, for example. And this is about organic leads as well. Okay, we'll go through, like I said, the community, and we'll talk about how you can get community engagement. We'll be looking at how you can do partnership building as well. We'll be talking about financial management, and we'll explore different options, funding options, which is available for care agencies, and gain insight into basic financial management principles. We'll also go through quality, compliance. So it's important for you to understand the importance of maintaining quality control and compliance with your agency to deliver a high quality care and standards. So I hope that you found this helpful for you today, and that you've learned a lot, because I've really enjoyed talking to you, and I'm really wanting to really show you how to do this, because when I did this 10 years ago, when I did my first event where it was how to start your own care agency, I did this 10 years ago, for example, and it's nice that I'm doing a full circle back again, because I think it's important for all of you that are thinking of going into or have started a care agency to just make sure you've ticked all the tick boxes, or maybe there's things that you've missed with your agency right now that you can implement straight away. So I just want to say thank you, everyone, and God bless you all. I've really enjoyed training you all today, and I can't wait to share with you tomorrow what we've got planned, because you need to make sure that you've got your calculator, that you've got a pen, and that you've got a notepad, because notepads is king. Notepads, just get one of those. I mean, I've got these big ones. Mine are A5 on top of this small notepad here. I've got a thing about writing lots of things all the time that stay in my notepad. But I just want you to really make a start and start planning so that you know what is involved. Because before you even think about going into things, you need to know what is involved, right? And you know, it's so important. And if you can do specialized training on top, then that's going to make you stand out as well. And we have got so much. Yeah, I prefer to write as well. I love it. I just love writing. My kids are always like, Mum, why don't you just use the computer? No, I like to write. I like to, because there's something about writing. It helps with the brain, for me anyway. So I write things down. So, you know, I want you all to really start making a plan for your healthcare business, because there's so many opportunities out there. A lot of you think that this is, Janet's laughing, a lot of you think that this is saturated. It's not. What you got to look for is where the need is and meet that need. I'm seeing it all the time. It's making me like, you know, it's just so exciting. Right now, you're in a really good spot. There's so many things you can do. You can add coaching to your healthcare business, where you're helping families to cope with their loved ones that's possibly going through palliative care, you know, cancer care, diabetes, arthritis, gastro, back problems, eyesight, brain injury. What things can you teach that is going to benefit the community? You could go into your community center and say, I'd like to have a room where I can do some free training to the community that need the services. Do you know of individuals? And they'd be like, yeah. And you know, and then you say, oh, can I put this up, you know, at the door? They'll you know, allow you to put a poster up so it's visible. Speak with your local radio stations. That's what I did. Speak with them, tell them what you're doing, why you're so different, and what you want to do for the community. And I will definitely reach out to you, Janet. So I remember we did have a speak, didn't we, last week? You were at the boot camp, I believe. So yeah, so let's look at where and what and how we can serve our communities that we live in, that we want to provide the service to, that is different from what everyone else is providing. Don't look at that. Well, yeah, look at them first, see what they're doing, and then, you know, see what the community really needs. So while they're scratching their heads wondering, what can I do? You can do these things. It's so amazing, you know. And like I said, diversity, inclusion, if you can do specialist training for that, you know, it is really needed badly, because people may say it but they don't do it, because some people don't understand what, what it is. They don't appreciate it, they don't understand it, they don't feel it like how we would feel it, for example. So what is it can you do that you can provide as an additional service to get your foot in the door? So I hope that that was helpful for you, everyone, today. Thank you for joining me. I've really appreciated you being here today, and God bless you. And I look forward to the training tomorrow, which will be at 7 p.m. UK time, for example. I will be, for those of you that book, I'll be available. Just let them know that you were on the event and it was to do with start a care agency, for example, so that we know who to direct it to. We've also got our other events next week. I hope that you've registered for. But first of all, let's deal with this week and join me for day 2 tomorrow. I really appreciate you all. I can't wait to do the training with you tomorrow, and we're going to really smash this. Okay, so stay tuned. And also, by the way, do like our YouTube channel, subscribe. Even though I'm speaking with you here on Facebook, we've got lots of videos on YouTube as well. I'm sure some of you know about it already, but do subscribe and like, and do like the video here, and let me know if you're watching the live or whether you're watching the replay. If my team can put the link to the event for tomorrow, so the link is in the main group as well as in this event page as well. So I look forward to speaking with you all tomorrow. Good night, everyone. God bless. Bye. Take care.